Okay, DJ Vic Vapor with you. Welcome back. In this lesson, we're going to focus on this top section here along the header, and then we'll talk a little bit about these four slider looking objects in the main signal pulse engine button right here in the middle. So of course it's currently on pulse engines, but we can click the effects tab and see down below you've got your effects options. And you've got one for the left and one for the right, simply because you have a pulse A and pulse B, so you've got two pulse engines you're dealing with there. If we go back, you can see again pulse engine A, pulse engine B. So within the effects, each effect has the option to have just one or the other or both playing for each engine, depending on what your needs are and what you're looking for. But you've got an EQ, compressor, lo-fi, tape, saturation, drive, stereo, spread, delay 1, reverb, flutter, and that's all just pulse engine A. Pulse engine B has the same thing, and then you have global effects that kind of work for both. So that's the effects, pulse engine effects. So let's go back and take a look at pulse engines. See, we have pulse engine A, and then you have a main rhythm and a second rhythm for each engine. Main rhythm, second rhythm. All right, so A and B. I'm going to actually stay on top here. So we looked at effects. Let's go ahead and look at this guy right here. So this is where all our presets are housed, and it's quite a large library. Like we mentioned before, it's over 40 gigs. So we can browse through by the left and right arrows here if we choose, or if you actually hit the title itself right here, the square, you're going to see the screen below has changed. Now you've got a more micromanageable kind of set. If you're looking for a specific sound, since the library is so large, you can use all this micro data information here to kind of, dig deep right into what sound you're looking for. You can click simple, creative, arpeggiated, and you can see how it keeps everything right there for you, dials it right down for you, and then you can clear if you want to restart. Synth, creative, tremolo, triplet. So I really find this quite handy actually. And then once you're within, like say you've dialed down, a specific category of sound the way you want it, you can obviously at that point browse through each one left and right if you choose. What's really cool as you're doing it though is they've made it kind of very, very intuitive and user-friendly by putting a little tip, kind of a sound engineer type tip in there to tell you, like specifically to this one, fat ass analog. The tip says try octaves down low for an indie rock bass groove, good in the upper octaves too. Go to the next one, tip macro 1, which would be this first, because it goes macro 1, 2, 3, and 4, adds tons of depth, and sub 2. So they give you nice little tips on how to manage the sound, or if you're looking for something specific, it gives you a general guideline on what way to head. So that's the presets button in general browsing. Then you've got a save. So if you've made some changes and you've set something up the way you like it, you can click save here. You can either save it as a new preset, title it, whatever you need to do, and it goes into like a user folder that you can dig right here. If you see right there where my mouse is circling, there's a user folder that will become available for you as you start to save your own. You can obviously copy it, paste it, entire layer just with pulse engine information, source channel strip. You can layer the effects, things like that. You can copy and paste and do all that fun stuff. So, and then this final little button here, well, not the final, but the next to last button here, kind of like a little stereo signal. Excuse me. If you click on that guy, it's going to allow you to have more detailed information on how these macro sliders begin to perform for you and what controls they're actually managing. So like by clicking on it now, it defaults to macro 1, where I can go in here and I can manipulate the drive, the decay, the filter, volume, and then within each of these I can click here and get a little bit more detailed. And then if you want to move to macro 2, click here, macro 3, macro 4, and you can assign, multiple different parameters to each one as you see fit to set up a sound that you might be looking for, or design a sound that you might like. And then one of the features I like on the front here is the question mark. If you click this guy, especially early on, the first few days I was using it, I found this quite handy. Click this guy, instantly it breaks it all down for you. Tells you what each button is accomplishing for you. What each little coloration and design is for. Just breaks it all down for you and gives you a nice little tutorial right there with one click. So if you're stuck or not quite sure how to achieve something you're trying to achieve, oftentimes you just click the question mark and you'll find out. So let me get off of that, get off of this guy. There we go. All right, so that's the pulse engines, the effects, preset browser, save, copy, macros, and then a basic little tutorial guide. Next, on the front screen, in the next lesson we'll move on, we'll talk a little bit more about the macros, the pulse engine button, and things like that. So let's go ahead and move on to the next lesson.